It's Wednesday night.
The New York Theater Barn
is live!
I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Baby, is this love? I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Is this love?
Good evening and welcome to New York Theater Barn's New Work Series Live. I'm Joe Barros and I'm the Artistic Director.
And I am Jen Sandler, and I'm the Associate Artistic Director. Tonight, we are so excited to present excerpts from the new musicals Broken Ground, and It Came from Outer Space.
And we are honored to be giving you the first public look at both shows. This is really an exciting week to be a theater maker. It's one I always look forward to. This week is NAMP's 32nd Annual Fall Conference and Festival of New Musicals. And for those of you who don't know what that is, NAMP is the National Alliance for Musical Theater, and New York Theater Barn is a member of this important organization.
Absolutely. I've had a really, really great time learning from my colleagues over the last 2 days at the virtual conference. And being a NAMP member, like Joe said, it's just such an honor. And their staff truly just goes above and beyond all the time. But this week especially, just to make this experience so great every year. So props to them. If you're a NAMP member and you were at the conference today and you're on the check, say hello to us. And we can't wait for the festival over the next few days. I know I can, and so can't you, Joe?
Totally. And I've had the privilege of being on NAMP's festival committee before, and it's a thrill to have the opportunity to get to fight for and lift up an important and well-told story with members of your community. And we're particularly excited to see Chiang Ung and Kion Hersey's Eastbound in this week's festival. Eastbound has previously been developed with New York Theater Barn, and it was also a winner of our Impact Award. This multilingual musical is an extraordinary new piece of theater and is a game changer for how we tell stories. We look forward to seeing how the show has grown later this week.
I feel the same way as you. I was a judge for the 10-minute musical competition this year, and you're like a gatekeeper and you're making things happen, and it's such a cool feeling. So yeah, I can't wait either. So without further ado, welcome to tonight's 13th season of our new work series and the 30th, can you believe it? 30th installment of our new work series. The new work series turned 30 faster than I did. It's true. I'm 29. I'm still not 30. Since March, and with all of our virtual programming combined, we have presented 62 new musicals, lifted up the work of 107 writers, and made space for over 300 artists. And just like every week, we are streaming to Broadway On Demand, and we thank our friends at Broadway On Demand for everything always.
Absolutely. I can't believe we got to 30 broadcasts before you turned 30. What a shame. And what an amazing thing. It truly feels like yesterday that it was March and the world was just shutting down, and we decided that we needed to virtually pivot into this uncharted territory.
Yeah, it was scary. And 8 months later, we can't believe the payoff. It couldn't have been any greater. And we are so honored to be continuing to guide artists and tell stories that need our attention. And here to tell us more about how you can support New York Theater Barn is recent Choreography Lab choreographer Tuan Malinowski. Take a look.
Hello, my name is Tuan Malinowski, and I'm coming to you from my home in New York City. A few weeks ago, I had the honor to be involved in New York Theater Barn's historic choreography lab. As a choreographer, it is my job to tell meaningful and important stories through movement. I was so thrilled to be paired with Ben Kaplan's I Don't Want to Talk About It and bring the show to life with musical staging for the first time. I was even more thrilled to have been mentored by the incredible and lovely Joshua Bergas. The experience is one that I'm extremely grateful for, especially during a global pandemic. We can safely create together. It is possible. So much is possible. Our work is fundamental and we are essential. The New York Theater Barn is excited about tonight's original culture-shifting musicals, It Came From Outer Space and Broken Ground. The company is proud to lift up the work of Kellen Blair, Joe Canosian, Christine Choi Johnson, and Jason Ma. New York Theater Barn is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your gift tonight is tax deductible. Thank you for supporting live theater and the development of original musicals. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Tuan. We are so thankful for your amazing work and all that you brought to our company.
Last week, Newark series featured the new musicals Ramona and Johnny and the Devil's Box. Here is a clip from last week's presentation of Ramona. Take a look.
Por ahora, I try to picture my mother and wonder if by another gentle stream she likes to sit and dream about her daughter.
The novel just swept me up. You know, it's an epic story. It's an epic romance. I was completely swept up in the story, and it didn't let me go. I started writing it when I was in the first year of the BMI musical theater workshop, Donde la tierra toca el cielo, which is where the earth touches the sky. And it's sung by Shireen Pimentel, who we're very, very excited to have tonight. And it's after Ramona asks her guardian, Senora Moreno, about her biological parents, whom Ramona knows nothing about.
A flash of lightning, a crack of thunder, and then on Donde Fue Ramona they will wonder. And I'll be going places no one here would ever even dare. Donde la tierra toca el cielo.
It's important that the story is told in as many ways by as many people as possible. You know, she wrote this story to call attention to the suffering of Native Americans at the hands of the U.S. government. She wrote this in 1884, and she wrote this epic romance, and the public was crazy for it, and it really did capture the public's attention and call attention to what was happening. And Margarita, who is a maid at the Rancho Moreno where Ramona lives, and she sings it to this guy Alessandro, who is the Native American ranchero who comes to work there for the summer. And obviously there's a huge attraction between Ramona and Alessandro, but Margarita wants him for his own, so this is her seduction song.
Just imagine you
alone. Think what you can do alone. Just imagine you alone.
It's so crazy to think that like 2 weeks ago we were like, who's causing more of a stir, Nevada Lozano or Nevada the state? And that was our week, and now we have a new president. So
it was well played, and it was quite an apropos moment. Totally. And we do have a new president. And here's a clip from last week's presentation of Johnny and the Devil's Box. Take a look.
I've always been a fiddle player, and I've always been really taken with the instrument and all the history that surrounds it. I guess that's kind of where it starts. The fiddle that I played belonged to my great-grandfather, and I don't know, I've always had sort of an epic sense of folk music and in my connection via my family to that music, and I've always wanted to see music that is near and dear to my heart, bluegrass music, folk music, country music, represented on a musical theater stage in an authentic way.
And I don't know which way I should turn anymore. And I don't believe half what I've learned anymore. I have never this kind of yearning before. What am I missing?
But for Johnny specifically, it was actually an open mic night here in Nashville at the Station Inn. And afterwards was approached by a Nashville guy here who said, you know, I like what you're doing. You oughta do something with it. And I said, well, I've got this idea for a musical about a fiddle player and the devil, and I think it's a story that's been told for many, many generations, years. Would love to figure out a way to put it on stage. He said, you should do it.
Inherent in the music is folklore. So to put it onto a story about folklore and different characters that are represented in different bluegrass styles from different regions of the South is really amazing.
It's just so fun. The show is such fun to work on and to listen to. It's the best.
The show actually starts with God creating the universe as a banjo player in a rocking chair, and he picks his banjo and the world comes into existence. And then he decides he needs a band to help him out. So he gets his angel band, and it's Michael on the mandolin, Gabriel on the guitar, Lucifer on the fiddle, and eventually the devil gets jealous. Lucifer gets jealous, whatever, later now sees Johnny, this fiddle player that represents everything that he wants to be and wants to have, and he's coming up with a way to bring Johnny down. Let me play, let me play, let me back in the band when the man goes astray, and you'll finally say, in my image he may be, but Lou, come on back and play for me.
Such a star.
What a tonight's a lot of multi hyphenates, and this what a multi hyphenate Douglas is.
Totally.
So let's get started with tonight's shows. Our first musical tonight is Broken Ground, which has a book and lyrics by Christine Toy Johnson and music and lyrics by Jason Ma.
In the original musical Broken Ground, a centuries-old Chinese writing system created by and only for women paves a path to truth for a woman in an evolving China in 1912. Broken Ground follows 18-year-old Xuě Lán as she sets out on a path created for her by tradition and her family to marry a young soldier. Still grieving the recent loss of her mother and twin brother and yearning to make peace with the new life before her, Xuě Lán seeks guidance from both Guān Yīn, the goddess of compassion, and the spirit of her mother. Transported to another space and time of ancient myth via an embroidered story in NüShū, the centuries-old writing system created by and only for women, Xuě Lán connects to her mother's wishes for her and discovers that she can indeed find happiness by both speaking her truth and honoring her destiny.
Wow, I want to see the show with all of that already. Now, joining us from their homes on opposite sides of the country are the writers of Broken Ground, Jason Ma and Christine Toy Johnson.
Hi.
Hi. So Jason, you're in LA, and Christine, you're here in New York City.
That's right.
Well, welcome, and we're so happy to have you both here. I was really excited about this story because I'd never heard anything like it, or what this writing system NüShū was like at all. So there's something really special here. Jason, you are a true veteran of the theater community. I'm a multi-hyphenate. You've been seen on and off Broadway in shows like Miss Saigon, Hamlet, Sly Fox, and Anthony and Cleopatra, among film and TV. You're also a celebrated writer of musicals such as Gold Mountain and Barcelona. Barcelona, you also wrote with Christine. Christine, you're also a true multi-hyphenate member of the theater community. We can frequently find you on stage in shows like the national tour of Come From Away, The Music Man, Flower Drum Song, and many others, including film and TV as well. I should also note that Come From Away was a show that came out of the NAMT Festival of New Musicals, which we talked about earlier. And I grew up watching you in the Nonsense musical. My sister married Leo, Rue McClanahan as Reverend Mother. I wore out those VHSs.
You're dating yourself with the VHS.
I couldn't travel to New York growing up in the Bay Area, but it was exciting to see this incredible story of these nuns, an all-female show, basically, do incredible things like tap dance and dance on point and raise money for their dead order.
Yes. And roller skates in part 2.
And roller skates in part 2. Yeah. You're also a director, filmmaker, podcast personality, self-proclaimed advocate for inclusion, and a writer. You've written shows such as The New Deal and The Secret Wisdom of Trees, and New York Theater Barn had the great privilege of presenting excerpts from your musical Till Soon Anne, written with Bobby Cronin and featured in our 2018 New Work series. It's a really special show. Inspired by true events, Till Soon Anne tells the story of a young woman at the end of her journey with brain cancer who throws her family and closest friends a perfect final weekend, a party, determined to celebrate the life we're given and the art of letting go, which is an extraordinary song in the show.
Thank you.
So here's a clip from the
Tell us
presentation.
what's happening.
In our new series. Take a look.
This has been a crazy year. Let's bring in the new. Celebrations overdue.
But I'll be alright with you.
Aw, thank you so much for showing that. That's Aaron Mackey and Wade McCullum. They're heaven. Yeah.
And we should note that Bobby Cronin also directed that, and that was who was jamming out in the background.
That's right. That's right.
So, as we said, you both are true multi-hyphenate artists. So when did you both discover that you were writers, or has writing always been in your blood as storytellers?
Well, I think like a lot of writers of color, I started writing because I noticed that I wasn't seeing stories about people that look like me populate our stages and in film and television. So I got a late start actually because I've been acting since I was a wee child. But it's been, now I cannot imagine my life without it as part of my creative life.
I think I started writing songs probably in high school, but my first full-length musical also came out of the same impulse while I was in Miss Saigon. I just realized that the canon was so small for us, and there was not enough sort of variation in the way we were portrayed in the musical theater canon. And I think Chris and I, and so many of us, there's a little herd of Asian American writers in New York City trying to expand the stories that are told about Asian people.
Absolutely. And what made you want to tell this story? You know, like Joe already said, it's something we've never seen before, and it's so exciting to us.
Well, I have to say that, so Jason and I wrote this show called Barcelona, and it was part of Village Theater's Festival of New Works in 2015. So that's when we got to know the fine people there. And Rob Hunt, the executive producer, we out to lunch about 2 years ago when I was in Seattle with Come From Away. And he said, have you ever heard of NüShū, this language that was written by and for women? I hadn't. So he handed me a little manila folder with a couple of pages copied from various sources and said, I don't know what the story is, but I've always been interested in some musical that has this at its core. And so and of course, Jason was the person that I had to write this with. And so through our research, it just became more and more exciting to us to be able to tell a story about empowerment, women being empowered by their curiosity, and following through with it, and being able to find their voices.
And in the course of this research, we started to see this sort of recurring theme, and these very words, it was a secret language, a language of tears. And as we continue to do more research, we realized that a lot of this was just people sort of projecting what it must have been like for these women. And after a while, I kind of started to feel like I needed to push back against this idea of a language of tears and Chinese women in perpetual misery and oppression. Whatever the systems are in place, whether it's oppression in the US or Europe or China, people find a way to be happy. They find a way to make their lives work. And it just kind of set off all sorts of feelings and my sort of BS meter as far as this secret language of tears. So we have created this world where women are making it work. They have agency, they're active, they're productive, they're even happy.
Yeah.
So
I also wanted to just add, I forgot to say this, that the reason they were inspired to create this language was because they were in this large period of time in China not allowed to go to be educated, to read and write in their own dialect. So that's why they created it for themselves, so they could have a way to express themselves.
Connection, emotion, just wanting to be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not a secret necessarily. It wasn't some sort of code.
And this was a commission from the Village Theater. What was it like collaborating with that team on this? Did they tell you, commissions are always so different. Sometimes you get a grid of what they want. Sometimes they just say, go write and come back with something after. What was that experience like?
Well, we touched base a lot before the commission actually was formalized. So to get to know what they really had in mind and what they weren't prescriptive about it, but just to get a sense of what kind of story they were interested in. I have to say that I was really, really very happy that at no point did they say, can you do this story about people in China, but maybe not have Chinese people in it? Or, maybe only have 3 characters. So they never said any of that. And so we just let our imaginations go wild. And also, we're so thrilled to be able to center a story on Asian people and Asian characters and give them a humanity that we don't see all that often in musicals about them.
And a community of strong women.
Right,
I
exactly.
was going to say unapologetically for sure.
Yes.
And
there's no frail lotus blossoms in this show.
And before we keep going, we have a message from, or you go first, Joe.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing you were going to say, so you go for it.
Yeah, we have a message from the fine folks at Village Theater. We have Brandon Ivy here to tell you more about Village Theater.
Hi there. My name is Brandon Ivy, and I am the Associate Artistic Director and Head of New Musicals at Village Theater just outside of Seattle, and we are very proud to be the commissioning theater for Broken Ground by Christine Toy Johnson and Jason Ma. Village Theater has a long 40-year history of developing new musicals, including the Pulitzer Prize winner Next to Normal, Tony Award winner $1 Million Quartet, as well as It Should Have Been You, Lizzie, Desperate Measures, The Noteworthy Life of Howard Barnes, Making Tracks, and many others. We are just at the beginning stages of the developmental process with Christine and Jason, and we are thrilled that New York Theater Barn audiences get to be the first in the world to hear some of this new material. We are very honored to be developing and supporting a new musical about a young woman who finds happiness by both speaking her truth and honoring her destiny. Enjoy Broken Ground.
I love that last thing that he said about how they're proud to support a woman who's speaking her truth and searching for her destiny. Following her destiny. And also we should note that Brandon was instrumental in the development of Lizard Boy, which is featured in this year's NAMM Festival of New Musicals, of which he's also directing in its historical Festival of New Musicals, where it will be presented virtually for the first time ever. So with that said, we'd love to dive into material from the show. So tell us about our first song, Beyond the Broken Ground.
This song is sung by the luminous Ali Ewald, playing the character of Guān Yīn, the goddess of compassion. And our heroine, Xuě Lán, has just reached the depths of her despair, trying to navigate between her destiny and her curiosity. And she seeks help and guidance from Guān Yīn.
Anything you want to add, Jason, or should we cut to it?
Cut to it.
Cut to it. Here is Ali Ewald.
Beyond the broken ground, there's a promise. Faith will come and hope will rise. Beyond the broken ground, new answers will be found, and I'll be there to hear your cries. Beyond the broken ground, there'll be solace. Compassion will arise and renew. Beyond the broken ground, inspiration will abound, and then you'll know what you must do. Be brave, be strong, be kind to yourself. Search well for your destiny. Go forth, be fierce, stay true to yourself, and dwell in possibility. Beyond the broken ground, there are blessings, unseen, unfelt, not yet understood. The challenges you've met, your sadness and regret, will come together for the good. Beyond the broken ground is your answer. Imagine with an open heart, then healing notes will sound beyond the broken ground as unexpected journeys start. You will rise anew as the blessings come to you, and then you will have broken.
Wow.
Right?
It's just all
Breathtaking.
and
Anytime you hear her, it's just like you can do no wrong, honestly.
it's an effortless, always effortless.
Mhm.
You know, I emailed her the song and she just showed up. We went through it a couple times and then we taped it. She's amazing.
Sounds like her.
I love these things that you will rise anew as the blessings come to you. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So let's hear about our second song.
Well, the second song, it comes from what we call the world of the embroidery. Xuě Lán receives this embroidery from her mother who died. And in the embroidery, there's an ancient myth. And as in any fable or myth or parable, it's this world of ideas and metaphor and lessons. And so we meet our first character, and we meet a character in the embroidery. If he had an archetype, I'd call him the Destroyer. He's the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea, which will be sung by Johnny Lee Jr. And the song is "The Sea of Me."
So do you want to say something, Joe?
I was just going to say Johnny Lee Jr. was instrumental in the development of Eastbound early on, and really incredible. So we're thrilled to have him here tonight.
Oh.
Here is Johnny Lee Jr.
Ugh, now go away, you little bird like less than nothing. You're annoying me and blocking the view of my sea.
Your sea? You can't just keep it all to yourself.
Why not? I deserve it. I'm swimming in the sea. Just swim in the sea of me. There's no better place to be than the sea. Do you see? See me? Then the little girl comes along, just singing the wrong kind of song, just being all kinds of strong. Move along, 'cause you're wrong. For the sea of me, the sea of me, the sea of me. That's where I'm free to embody the actuality of me. Do you see? Do you see? See me?
I see you. But P.S. You're not as special as you think you are. Now let me see what I want to see.
I hate you creatures with needs. You mortal humans and all the other breeds. You watch my sea and you plead to receive and to feed and to succeed in my sea. The sea of me. I am special and I matter. I'm so fresh it'll change and shatter your reality. Girl, you can't diminish me. Girl, I'm the Dragon King. I am everything. I'm the only thing. The sea is only for me, for my use only for exclusivity. It's mine to rule and that's cool. It's my own private pool. I'm not cruel, but you'll have to see. You'll see me, the sea of me, the sea of me. That's where I'm free to embody the actuality of me. Do you see? Do you see? See me? Do you see?
Such a clever play on words, and it's so expansive at its incubatory state. I really can't wait to see what this sounds like with an orchestration. I just love the bass motive and the accompaniment.
And it's just so drastically different from the first song.
Totally.
In the best way possible.
Our world of the embroidery was a place for us to play ideas, and also just to kind of incorporate what's been going on all around us recently, and how it connects to the main story.
Mm-hmm. That's a great time to get to our closing question then. Why did you feel it was important to tell a cultural tale about women and maternal relationships over anything else?
Well, you know, I feel like so much of my life's work actually has been about shifting perceptions of who we are and what we can do, especially Asians and Asian Americans. And that's not only through my advocacy work, but literally writing us into the narrative of American storytelling. So it all connects for me in being able to tell this story.
What about you, Jason?
What Chris said.
This is why we're friends for life too.
Yeah, we've known each other since 1989.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's another show in itself. This is a good time. If you want to know more about the show, this is a good time. We're going to put up your site, but keep talking. Yes.
Go ahead, Jason.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You know, this story, I have 4 nieces who I love very, very much. And there's this journey that girls take when they becoming women. And it's a little heartbreaking because there's always this point in the development where they realize that the world and the sort of structures in place are not going to be friendly or safe for them. And I hope telling stories like this and watching women go through these journeys, and so also the ideas that we bring up in the embroidery will continue to make people aware of this, and that we can take care of our girls who are going to be our women and mothers in such a way that's better than we've been doing.
Hit the nail on the head.
Totally. Well, thank you both for this extraordinary untold story. I mean, I certainly knew nothing about it. And another thing to add to that too is that so many people don't understand that China is not referred to as China in China. It's called Zhongguo. And that this is like something that I feel like most Western countries don't even know about. There's so much to uncover there, especially this incredible writing system called NüShū.
Yes.
Thank you. I also just want to add that, you know, with so much xenophobia in our own country, it's often you're discouraged from embracing your own culture and your own heritage of your ancestors. And so it's been such a joy to be able to do the opposite, embrace the culture. And we're so grateful to the fine people of the village for commissioning this and encouraging us all the way.
And it's only the beginning, so there's so much more to see from this show, and we can't wait either.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine and Jason. We can't wait to see what happens with the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
So beautiful. Really, really special. Well, and now on to the second half of our presentation. It Came from Outer Space. It Came from Outer Space, which has book and lyrics by Kellen Blair and book and music by Joe Kanosian.
Yes, It Came from Outer Space is a new musical comedy adapted from the 50s classic sci-fi film from Universal Pictures. Amateur astronomer Joe Putnam encounters an alien spaceship in the desert and becomes the laughingstock of his small town until the extraterrestrial visitors make their presence known, and he must convince the gathering mob that they have come in peace. A clever musical score and creative physical humor puts a new spin on Ray Bradbury's Flying Saucer Tale, examining society's fear of outsiders as it simultaneously embraces the wonder of what lies just beyond the stars.
And I wouldn't expect anything less from the inspired writers of Murder for Two. And now joining us from their homes in Manhattan are the writers of It Came from Outer Space, Kellen Blair and Joe Kanosian.
Welcome to our home.
Hello.
Hi,
How's
guys.
it going in town?
Sarah's here, wants to say hi, Joe.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Joe. Hi, Jen. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Sarah. You're live on TV.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, guys. We have our toddler in the other room plopped in front of a cartoon for the moment so that he doesn't.
You never know. He may make an appearance.
He might still make an appearance.
Live theater. It's okay.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see both you, Joe, Sarah, and Kellen. Kellen and Joe, you are two of the funniest people we know. You've been collaborating together for over 12 years. Most people know you as the writers of the mega hit Murder for Two. And when I say mega hit, I mean mega hit. It's been seen regionally, as in everywhere, off-Broadway, on tour, and even around the world. The show has earned Drama League, Drama Desk, Outer Critics Circle nominations, and more. Your work has also been seen on Broadway and at the Kennedy Center. You are proud recipients of the Mary Rogers and Lorenz Hart Award. And we were thrilled to include some of your songs in our Newark series in 2012 as a part of a benefit for Hurricane Sandy. And we have a clip from that concert, including Sarah Ziegler. So take a look.
The first song is a song we wrote for a little girl who told us she wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. We have not heard from her since.
Hello, Mrs. Davenport. Your results came back today. I have them here, Mrs. Davenport. And now at last, I think that I can safely say, good news, Mrs. Davenport. You're healing very well.
When he's with me, he would trip with romance. If he knew me, and if he knew me, he would fight for the chance to pursue me. If he knew me, he'd search for the courage to pick up the phone and call. If he knew me, but he doesn't know me at all.
And don't be shocked when they have kids, cause that's how a family starts. Then we'll know a few more Republicans have hearts.
We'd like to say a big howdy do to all the Republicans in the room.
That's right. Howdy do. I see a Republican over there.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
There's
Republican.
she can sniff them out like a truffle pig. I tell you, she's crazy.
I honestly say I never thought that last song would ever be shared again. That was written specifically for my sister's wedding 8 years ago. That's hilarious.
Also, was that concert from 1987?
Feels like it, right? I was going to say only Kenosian and Blair would know how to greet the Republicans in the audience. and that was Sarah, Kellen's wife, who also is an incredible writer who had written a musical that we included in our Newark series, then called The Bronte Project, and then eventually called The Brontes, about the incredible literary family. So how did you begin collaborating together, Joe and Kellen? And what sparked your imagination to adapt this very much in your wheelhouse film into a musical?
Yeah, well, we met at the BMI workshop, and we were
Never heard that before.
We told you in the pre-interview. This is a very stock answer. And we, oh, by the way, hi, Anna. I see you're watching. She was in our class too. And we just had hit it off pretty quickly into that. And we were planning for the second year of the class to do like a really big, gigantic show with huge cast and lots of costumes, like a big period piece with a massive orchestra and all that. And so in between years, in the summer, between first and second year of BMI, we were like, well, we've got some time on our hands. We've got myself and our friend Marcus, who was willing to work on a show for free. And we wrote Murder for Two kind of just as like a sidebar project. And we're just thrilled that it wound up getting off the ground and, you know, opening so many doors to us.
Was the second half of that question about It Came from Outer Space?
Yes.
It was. Yes, yes.
So
take it away.
I was going to say that's a nice little here. So our world premiere of Murder for Two was at Chicago Shakespeare Theater, and had such a great experience working there and working with them that we really wanted to think of something else to work on with them. So we were brainstorming ideas, and it sort of came up that Universal's catalog could be something we could look at for that. Meanwhile, almost at the exact same time, 2016, we went and saw a actual screening at a movie theater of It Came From Outer Space. And this was right when President Trump, President Trump, was taking over the White House. And we were both really taken by how topical and how ahead of its time the movie seemed. The whole thing is about fear of otherness and get the aliens out of America. We don't want them here. I don't think they actually use the words "get them out of America," but that's what it seemed like at the time. And it was also the first science fiction film where the twist is that the aliens are not the bad guys. It's actually the small-minded people trying to get rid of them who don't understand them who are the bad guys. So we pitched it as a scrappy, funny, inventive theatrical feat, musical comedy, and we've been working on it with Universal and Chicago Shakespeare ever since.
And your amazing director, Laura Braza, is here, and we're going to bring her on.
Oh my God, she's here.
So tell us more about working with Chicago Shakespeare and where you're at now with your development.
Oh, Laura, you're muted.
I've handled it, I think. Am
Yeah.
I good?
You got it.
Oh my God, what an embarrassing Zoom faux pas. I apologize.
Nobody puts Laura in the corner.
No, don't do it. No, it's been so much fun because, I was brought in about a year and a half ago now with the idea that we would do a reading and see how it goes. So we spent our 29 hours and got really creative with how the presentation worked. We sort of decided that this wasn't the kind of musical that we could stand everyone behind music stands and get the real feel of it, because it's all about how these 6 actors make this whole world happen. They are the aliens, they are the townspeople, they're the heroes, they're the villains. And so we did that and decided that the next step was just to see how creative and strange we could make it. So we came into our next workshop with every prop imaginable. I just started asking for things like dodgeballs and big wooden dowels and small wooden dowels. And we spent a while figuring out how we would take this world of sci-fi 50s B-movie film and put it into their sort of pajama game Joe Canosie and Kellen Blair musical.
Yes, I just put it in the chat, but we had a styrofoam tentacle that we all had a lot of fun throwing around that room.
Yeah, that was.
I don't think it's going to make it into the show, but we sure had fun playing with it.
Yeah, thank God.
So you had, all these kind of, you were commissioned by Chicago Shakes and you've been developing it with them and hoping in 2021 there'll be a production, if not after, when we can gather again.
Yes, their intention as of now is to present it sometime in 2021, and they've been, a great support network as we've gone about this process. And hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's safe to say when you hear the news that theater can happen, go to chicagoshakes.com because there will be a show.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know Chicago Shakes, this is an incredible regional theater doing amazing work. In fact, Paul who wrote Jane Eyre, which is the Brontes as well. I saw an amazing production that he wrote, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice there in 2015. It's also like, it feels like Shakespeare's The Globe inside, and it's on the pier in Chicago. It's just an extraordinary place. So after you make a donation for New York Theater Barn, please donate hundreds of dollars to this incredible theater, Chicago Shakespeare.
Yeah, one of my favorite shows, Ride the Cyclone, came out of there too. I love the work they do.
Or feel free to send the donation just straight to us. That's also.
Commission their next show. One of them.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to hear about the first song, Brand New Start.
Totally. I wrote a little paragraph here. Is that allowed?
Ooh, yes, please. We love it.
What I did with my summer vacation.
The show takes place in the small desert town. No, sorry. The show takes place in the small desert town of San Roque, Arizona, in the year 1953. So in this scene, which is very early in the show, we meet John Putnam, who comes from the big city, Tucson. But he's been living here in this small town for mysterious reasons over the last few months. One thing that has come out of the move was meeting and falling in love with local school teacher Ellen Fields. For her part, Ellen wants to get close to John, but can't help feeling like he's hiding something from her. She points out that he really doesn't seem to fit in here and cites the example that he doesn't even use small town words like ain't, which I point out because that comes up in the song. And so John, in this moment that we're about to see, tries to convince Ellen that he truly does want to be here and that he's more than ready for this brand new start.
And what actors are we going to see in this song?
Brandon Springman plays John, and Jennifer Lattimore plays Ellen. And I think you're here, Jennifer. Hi.
She is. I saw her in the chat. Here is Brand New Start.
Oh, I know I don't fit in right now. Damn my naturally intellectual demeanor. But give me a chance, Ellen. I want to marry you. I want to live in this exciting place. I want to make a brand new start. Start again as someone new. Someone who's a plain guy, just another average sane guy with a gal like YOU.
Oh, John.
Wanna prove I fit right in. Look at me, I ain't too smart.
Better.
I don't need a claim here. I don't need to cry from shame here. Gotta get that brand new start. Cities are filled with fun, while here there's none, just sand and sun. Well, maybe it's not so grand, but I'll take sand and never taunts you.
What was that?
This town has all I need. This town has you. What good are hospitals and modern plumbing compared with you? And if I want to get a dose of culture, I won't with you. We'll be together, never seeing shows while never wearing normal clothes inside this town that no one knows. But although I'm well aware that there's not a lot to do here, I don't care if I can marry you here.
Oh, John, are you serious?
So let's get ourselves a brand new start.
We can make a brand new life.
I can picture every part.
As a brand new life. Not a single thing we won't share.
All except the things we don't share.
Gotta love this brand new start.
So will you marry me?
Every night, no box of
Every inch of work of art. Sharing one big brand new heart.
It'll be a grand new.
Even if I'm somewhat bland new, let's begin our brand new start. Ready, set, start.
Yay!
I loved Amy's comment. It's so nice to hear legit singing today.
I know, we got the healthiest voices in town tonight. Thank you to Jennifer and Brandon for doing that. And Jennifer, extra thanks for giving the best reaction shots. Like every time there was any sort of pause in the song, it was like, let's cut back to Jennifer and see what she's doing.
So tell us more about our second song.
Yes. Okay. So later, Jennifer, who plays Ellen, has a fight with that guy, John, and she goes into a local dive bar to drink her troubles away, and she runs into a 60-something barfly named Coral. And naturally, you would cast me in that role, right? So I'll be playing that part. And then they're commiserating over their troubles. And then Shannon Tayo shows up, and she's playing an alien named Gromulex. And as they start talking, they realize that they all have some similar problems.
So here is I Can't Figure Out Men.
Oh, Ellen, let's get that old jukebox playing for you. Comprehending cattle has never been a battle. I ain't often baffled by birds.
I love this song.
Dogs never give me doubts. Frogs never mince their words.
Sing it.
Rarely are there hurdles to making sense of turtles or savvying the mind of a hen. But man, oh man, I can't figure out man.
You said a jukebox?
Thanks, honey.
What else?
Ain't nobody I know befuddled by a rhino.
And few find their flummoxed by sheep.
I once saw a red-tailed hawk. Can't say I lost much sleep.
No one suffers traumas
from dilemmas caused by llamas.
or feels puzzled by a pig in his bed. But man, oh man, oh man, I can't figure out man.
For plain and painless companionship, I'd recommend a seal. When those suckers tell you they'll worship you know their love is real. Zebras, ducks, and poodles hardly ever strain our noodles. There ain't a lot that's not in our can. But man, oh man, I can't figure out man.
Excuse me, fellow Earthlings. Do either of you have a spare nuclear conductor I could borrow? I'm trying to make dinner.
Fresh out of nuclear conductors. But if you'd like to join us, we're singing about how we understand most creatures, but not men.
Tell me about it. I met this one man on the way here who offered me a knuckle sandwich and then started screaming when I ate his hand. He offered it.
They're the most confusing creatures on Earth.
In the solar system.
No. In the entire universe. It is not a struggle to decipher a gerzuggle. I am not much fazed by a zot.
Amen.
Some are perplexed by gorks. I, myself, am not.
Damn right.
I don't find it Grekky sharing brainwave with Zordecki, even when their heads are greater than 10. But sweet gramulations of Gordox, I can't figure out men.
It doesn't take a ton of skill appreciating a gorilla.
Or the itsy bitsy brain of a mouse.
The itsy bitsy brain of a mouse.
We have mice as well, but ours are the size of a house. What?
In terms of creatures, I'll include the average reptile.
Earth cats throw me off now and then.
That's fair.
But man, oh man, I can't figure out man. If what you want is a constant love,
might I suggest a snake?
A snake won't beg you to give your heart, then promptly let it break. There are critters here and yonder, but they rarely make us ponder. Only one confounds us time and again. Man, oh man, I can't figure out man, oh man,
Also, armadillos, why?
Man, oh man, I can't figure out man.
A Canosian and Blair melody. It should seem melodic.
I was going to say, Joe, I just realized how flexible.
Kellen, shut up. We were getting a compliment.
Okay, well,
Just kidding.
melodies, it didn't affect me. I was going to say, Joe, I didn't realize how flexible you are in that video. There's the shot of you playing the piano, and then you're facing away from the piano in the other shot. How did you do that?
They were two separate shots.
Oh,
Yeah.
clever.
Little magic of cinema there. Yeah, it was like, let's just say, I think we can all agree that we've learned a lot about iMovie since March.
Joe, I feel like you were saying you did not know anything about video editing before this pandemic, and look at you now.
I know, it's just all over it. Yeah, and it's actually gotten kind of fun, like the playing with it. But you know, once again, with Shannon and Jennifer, there were so many options to play with, and Shannon does all those weird like head turns in the final beat, and it was fun too. It felt like being in rehearsal, even though we never actually were anywhere near each other.
You were saying Brandon you just met for this process, right?
Yeah, we've never actually met him in person. It was all directing over the phone, and yeah. Thank you to all the nice people who are saying nice things on the chat too. Really appreciate you.
That's why we have it. Never had to kick anyone off this chat yet.
So I would say, lastly, I would say that this show is sort of Little Shop, Bat Boy, and Starmites had a baby with an actor show like 39 Steps or Murder for Two. And then that's a segue to you, Jen.
Yeah, this was a movie first. Would creators of this movie be happy you made it into a musical? And you kind of said a little before, but like, why did this need to be a musical?
It's interesting. Joe and I were just thinking about this recently. I mean, this is based on a Ray Bradbury property, and I don't think that Ray Bradbury would have ever guessed that we turned this into a musical comedy that looks like this. But I do think he would have fun watching it. I do think that we kept the spirit of what he was trying to say alive in terms of. I think Ray Bradbury was very progressive, and I think this movie is a great example of a fear of otherness, and I think we explore that, but then I also think that we try to go a step further even to make it more contemporary. So I'd like to think that Ray Bradbury would enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a great opportunity to song-wise to like recreate the clash of cultures, one of those cultures being alien, in the music, because you've got this like wide open spaces, which to me was like Aaron Copland vastness meets the small town conventions of like 50s country music or like the Pajama Game. Like that's always been my reference point for like that era of musical comedy. And then you have alien music, which it just sounds like whatever you want it to sound like. So there was like a lot of opportunities to simulate all this confluence musically.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Well, we are out of time. So thank you, Laura. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Kellen. We can't wait to see what comes of It Came from Outer Space. So thank you so much tonight.
See you guys soon.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, it was very exciting tonight. Both teams, are accomplished in their own different ways, and both teams are incredibly generous and kind and supportive. Watching them root each other on backstage, I think, is what this is really about. I don't think we can move on in this industry without the support of each other. Really.
And it's rare we get shows that are both kind of in the same stage of development and their true first looks, and we got that tonight. And I think it's always really special when that happens.
Totally, and thanks for trusting us to help you put this material out into the world. We're thrilled to be a part of that journey. And so that's our show for tonight. We will be observing Thanksgiving week, and we'll be taking a breather to eat some turkey and relax and to celebrate our new president. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Wednesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. with the new musicals Millennials Are Ruining Musicals and The Ladies' Man.
Millennials Are Ruining Musicals is written by Nico Juber, and The Ladies' Man is written by Justin Mortalidi and Shannon Hunt.
It takes an incredible amount of work to make tonight's show happen, and in order to continue to lift up artists and original musicals, we really need your help. So please join our generous donors by making your gift today on our website at nytheaterbarn.org/give.
Again, that is nytheaterbarn.org/give. And I feel like we don't have to say this, but I still want to say this. If you plan to celebrate Thanksgiving, please be safe. If you're going to do anything, practice social distancing. Don't gather with a lot of people. Be safe. We want to combat this virus, and we can only do it if we are all careful and we all take care of each other. So thank you for tuning in tonight.
And thank you for supporting live theater in development.
And we'll see you soon. Good night.
Night.
This first song is a song we wrote for a little.
Joe and Jen, thank you so much for having us. We love what you're doing. You're giving something, you're giving a lot of people something to feel good and to work on, and a lot of something for a lot of people to look forward to right now. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We really appreciate
Thank
that.
you so much, Joe and Jen, and great to have your support, and great the interpreter for access. Thanks, everyone.
We at MTF have been really lucky to be able to support these musicals and are really grateful to New York Theater Barn for lifting them up, especially at this time.
It was just a great experience to just be back in the studio with amazing people and to create work during this time. It was refreshing. It took my mind off of everything for a couple of weeks, and I'm so thankful.
Hello, I'm Bill Berry, and I'm the producing artistic director at the Fifth Avenue Theater.
And I'm Kelsey Torgelson, and I'm the Associate Artistic Director at the Fifth Avenue Theater.
We'd like to thank the New York Theater Barn for supporting such fabulous new musicals like Here and There and Half the Sky.
Well, I loved it. Thank you, all of you. I mean, certainly Sheila and Deborah have brought her back, and this is just a treat all the way through.
It's really nice to make something pretty in a time when everyone's, seemed all up in arms. So thank you for this opportunity. It's been a blast.
Thank you, guys. And I have to say, before we go, I just want to thank you so much for keeping us going, because in this time of uncertainty, theater people know how to keep going, damn it. So thank you.